looks like this one's gonna have a part 4. I kind of like to stop every time, like 30 minutes or so, just to make sure that I'm like not losing a bunch of data if my recording myself up. All right, so now we're gonna so where we are on the list, we're at this dictionary. We're gonna look at these methods on the dictionary. I already talked about the basics of it. I feel like I exhausted that a lot, so I don't want to go too much into that. So let's talk about dictionary. So we say x equals, I'm gonna make a dictionary here, and I'm going to use this syntax where I say 2 is 4, and then remember your commas, and then like pizza is going to be a list of 1, 2, 3, and then what else? We need a lot of values. So let's say hello goes to 8, and then let's say that pasta is 0.7. I'm feeling that 0.7. And sorry I'm making you watch me all this tuple of 1, 2, 3, because remember we can use tuples. It's going to be another dictionary of 3 going to 5, and then that will be it. Forgot a comma there. Does this work? All right, it's happy with that. So now we're ready to work with our stuff. So we see that we have mapping.keys. Mapping's going to be a dictionary here. So I can say x.keys. And I've pulled this hat trick a million times. Remember, this isn't going to do anything, so I have to return. This is returning value. So to print it out. Because it isn't altering x, it's just, printing it. So this is going to print out a dict keys object. And I wonder what happens if you try to index this. I don't think... so you actually can't index that. I just don't know what to believe anymore after I found you can index a range. It's so weird. So yeah, this makes a dict keys object. That's cool. What does that mean? So if I make, let's say y is equal to this dict keys thing, okay? So yeah, I can print y, and it'll still be this dict keys thing, but I can't like index y or anything. Like, what if I want to get that first key? Like, that's not very useful. So what I can do is I can list it. So I can do list of x.keys. That will give me a list of all the keys, and I can totally index that just fine. So I can index the first element of that. It'll give me 2. And then I want to get that last one, that tuple. And give me the tuple right there. And then we can do values. Values the same way. Values is going to make a values object. So if I do dict values of this thing, and that's like an annoying object thing, so just go ahead and turn it into a list. I'll give you a list of all the values in the dictionary. I messed up my parentheses. I'll give you a list of all the values in the dictionary. So our values are 4 and 1, 2, 3, and 8, and 0.7 in a dictionary. And like so down here, we have 4, list, 8, and 0.7, dictionary. Okay, so then we have items. What is items going to do? Well, similarly, I'm going to do this one more time. X.items is going to give us a dict items object. And I just remembered something. What if you did put parentheses here? X.items. What does this do? Just a little Python trivia. I doubt you'll be tested on this, but this is saying this is the method itself where I'm going in and getting items. So if you want to actually get the items, you have to run the function. That's just kind of like with all functions. If you don't put those parentheses, it won't actually run the function, So yeah. So now we have this dict items things. Same thing. We can list it out, which is much more useful. So basically, with these keys, values, and items, normally it's a good idea to just throw them into a list. So yeah, this will give us a list of tuples. Remember, our tuple is our list that we can't change anything in. And this is just saying 2 goes to 4, pizza goes to this list, hello goes to 8, pasta goes to that, and that's just like that. So I can actually I can index this doubly. Like I can say, let's see, the first one is this 2, 4 thing. And say I want to get, so if I do 0 and 0, what does this do? Well, it's going to give me a 2, right? This is going to say, all right, I'm going to go into this this list right here, and I'm going to grab the first element, which is a tuple of 2 and 4, and then with that tuple, I'm going to get the 0th element out of there. So then we'll give me 2. Let's do another. What index do you think you could get to let's say that 0.7? What could I put in here? Well, that's going to be 0, 1, 2, 3. So I get that 3, and then I'm going to do the 1, the first element. Or the second element, actually, because the next one is second, right? Ooh, and what if I wanted to get this 3 here? Well, that'd be the second one. And I don't think this is going to be on the test, but and then I'll get the 0, 1, 2th element there, and then that will give me x.items. Give me 1 sec. Yes, I made a mistake. Okay, so we get the first element, which is this pizza 0, 1, 2, 3 tuple, and then I'm going to grab the index 1th element of that, which is this this list, not the pizza, the list, and then I can grab the 0, 1, 2th element of that. And that will print out 3. There we go. Yeah, I doubt you'll ever need to do this. This is dumb. I mean, there's a million different better ways to do that. Just like literally look it up in the dictionary. But okay. So then mapping.pop. Ooh, I didn't know you could do that. Let's try it. X.pop. And what if I do no arguments? What does that do? And pop usually returns something, so I'm going to keep it in this print statement. Okay, so it looks like, ooh, I gotta research. Actually, it looks like it says right here. If you pop the key, so I'm gonna pop this key. I'm gonna pop pizza, and then yes, it's going to return. Looks like the value of what you popped. Oh, I vaguely remember this. Yeah, and then you can print out x. I'm going to print a little dividing line so you can see it. And then get that. Put another one there. All right, so we're going to, how about we print x before we pop. And then, all right, so yeah. So this is x. I guess you can see it better here. This is x before we popped, right? And then we pop this pizza. So it's going to look up pizza, return this value that it's a pizza, return it, right? And then now we have this new dictionary. Well, it's going to remove it from the dictionary. So it's new the same dictionary actually, just with this 0, 1, this pizza 0, 1, 2, 3. Basically, this whole row, line 3, just removed. Because you do see pizza in here? Nope. So yeah, so it gets rid of the element and it returns the value that is at the key. All right. All right. So now open file name. Okay, that's fun. You know what? Let me. All right, so now it looks like we're talking about, we've been talking about opening files. So I'm going to, what we can do is I have this file on my, in the same directory as my test.py. So it's, test.py is actually in my, my desktop somewhere around here. I'm just not seeing it. Yeah, there it is. And I have this items.txt, and this items.txt is just saying milk. Well, actually, I can view it over here easier. It's right here. It's my milk. It's my shopping list, I guess. Milk, fish, shoes, socks, pepper, and Oreos. Okay, that's an interesting shopping list. All right. So, so how can we? What if we wanted to just print all those out? Yeah, we'll print all those out. So, first we have to. Let's see. We have open file name, and we have read and read line, and then read line split, and okay, a lot of stuff. So, am I still on exam 2? I didn't even remember. Okay, so. So yeah, for some reason I always make this y, so I'm just going to keep to my thing. I like to say y equals open items.txt, comma, and then you put one character in parentheses. It can be either read, write, append, or read plus, or write plus, or append plus, and etc. And I'm going to... All right, here's the different things you can put in here. I just Googled, like... I know we're not supposed to go in here, sorry, but it's good for you, I guess. So these are the different things you can pass. And you can open a file for reading, and that's like when you just, you can't write anything to it. You can only read it. And then R plus means you can read and write to it. And then W means that you can just write to it, but you're not allowed to read from it. W plus means you can write to it. And you can also read. A means that it's open for, I guess it's just open for writing, but it's you start at the end of the file instead of the beginning. And then A plus, so maybe the plus is reading and writing, but this is the case at the end. And then, so I guess there's two things that are happening here. It's either whether you're allowed to read, allowed to write, and then also where you start. So both R and W both start at the beginning of the file, and then this will allow you allowed to read, you're allowed to write, you're allowed to read or write. What is the difference between these two? Beginning of the file, beginning of the file. The file is created. Oh yeah. I was thinking to myself, what was the difference between W plus and R plus? Well, W plus will, if you don't have the file already, it will make it and if you already have the file, it will get rid of the current file you have and make a new one. R plus, this will, if you don't have the file yet, it'll say like, hey, you don't have this file yet because you can't read it. And then, I believe, and then if you already have the file, it will just open it and just read it and be fine. So whenever you have a W, you just want to be careful. I know the A does not do this, but W, whenever you have, if you have a file that's already existing and you open it in reading in write mode, then everything in your file is getting deleted. So it's like I take my shopping list and go, okay, new file. Oh no, I lost all my stuff. Okay, so all right. So what are we gonna do with this? So let's just sometimes what I like to do just to make sure my thing is working is just print everything out. Print everything out in the document. I'll take this and put it in my output. Okay. All right. So let's open items.txt. We don't want to write it in W, right? Because we're going to get rid of all the items in it if we do that. So let's open it in just read mode. And then, so that means that our little reading stream, like our cursor, is at the very top of the file now. Okay. So then I can say y.read. Now, y.read is going to return a string where it just reads the whole thing, just everything all. So I can store this in like, everything equals y.read, and then I can print everything like that. And then there we go. I got milk, fish, shoes, socks, pepper, and Oreos, just like that. So yeah, that's a good thing to do, I think, when you're starting out with file reading, is you just get everything on the screen first and then go from there. Okay, so that's read. Then you can read line instead. So that's when you just want to get read line. So this is going to be one line. It's going to be one line. And since the R starts at the very beginning of the file, it's going to just be milk. So this is going to print out just milk. Yeah. So it just prints out milk like that. Right? So then, what was I going to do? Yeah, I wanted to show you because we had this little extra line here, and I was wondering if there was a new line character in here. And it was hard to see because you, in order to see it, we were printing it. When printing, we'll interpret this new line. So what I did is I went into the Python shell so you can see it's going to read that line and that little new line character in the end. So it's actually going to read MILK plus this like skip a line, like that is a character of \n. So yeah, this just so you know, when you print out from read line, you'll get a new line in there too. So, all right. So, and then you can do read lines. So, read lines. What this is going to be a list of everything. It's going to take all the lines in Y and it's going to just put each one into a list. So, there we go. And yeah, so we have milk \n, fish \n, shoes \n, socks \n, all these \n. So sometimes it gets a little annoying that you have all that \n, and you can fix that just by doing like a quick for I in list of everything. This is good practice. I'm gonna go ahead and do it. For each one in that list, I'm going to do I equals I dot strip, because remember strip returns, it doesn't change it. So then that will get rid of those. Ooh, wait a minute. Something's going wrong. Oh, this is embarrassing. Sorry. Okay, so you can't just do I equals I dot strip. It looks like you have to index it by, well, you say for I in range. That way that I is just a number, and then we can actually go in the list and do it. So I guess like when you say for I in the list, I guess I is just going to be, yeah, I guess it would just be a copy of it, but I don't really know on that. I would check that. I don't want to say anything wrong on that, but this works where I just go the other kind of for loop, where you go through the range and index. That got me to strip it all. You got that, but I feel like this really isn't that important because there's other ways to do it. So we'll see. So that's read lines. They'll give you all the things in the thing, including those like \n characters. And then so I can do connection.read.split on n. Ooh, what does that do? Let's go ahead and see. So list of everything equals y.read.split on n. And print list of everything. So I think he meant to say \n there actually. Yeah, so this will do the same thing. That was a lot easier than doing that for loop and read lines thing, right? And I think this is actually a mistake in here, this n. I'm going to let him know. I think it's a mistake. Yeah, this will print it out without those \n's because we literally split on those ones. So it's going to go through here and go split. and go ahead and get rid of those. And the reason we have this little extra one at the end is because remember we have a new line at the very end of our file. Actually, if I get rid of that, we won't have one. So run this again. Oh, I guess we still do. I'm saying everything wrong. Oh, I still have a new line here. That's why it won't let me save it without that's annoying. Look at that. Adds a new line every time I save it. That's annoying. Shouldn't do that. All right. And then there's for loop with this. Yes, that's yet another kind of for loop we could do. We can say for I in y. Wait, no. Hold on. Yes, for line. For I, usually you say line here. Doesn't matter. I like to do different things. For shoe in y, I'm going to let's print shoe. What do you think this is going to do? Well, it's going to go through. It's going to get each one of these lines, including the new line. I'm going to print shoe. What if we do dot strip this? That will get rid of those spaces there, and that'll be just the lines right there. Okay. And then yes. Finally, we are on urllib.request. All right. So this is the fun stuff. Our goal here is to get a duck on our screen. Okay. I just have to get the URL real quick. All right. So I usually like to store my URLs in a variable called z for some reason. I don't know. So this is using a module just like that module. By the way, this is our duck, but it looks weird when I do it here. It's a weird duck. This is using urllib.request. So we gotta go ahead and import this. Remember, this is a module, just like random. So I'm gonna import urllib.request like that. All right, so then we have z is just a string of our URL. Don't be fooled that it looks blue. It's actually just a normal string. I bet if I messed up this HTTPS, yeah, it's just like a string like that. So yeah, I will make sure I didn't mess it up. Yeah, there we go. So I'm a firm believer in thinking that's a good way to at least get this in the beginning. Because you remember how I said that it's a good thing to just get these on the screen, first of all. A good thing to do is to just get it on the screen. Just print it all out. And you can do it in a one-liner, but the one-liner is kind of long. All right, so you just got to remember all the different components. I promise it'll be fine. So we're going to do urllib.request.url open z. You pass z into this part. And then you close your parentheses. And you say dot read, open and close parentheses. And then we're going to do dot decode. And then inside of here, in parentheses, uppercase or lowercase, I think, UTF-8. This is fine and dandy, but we're not going to get a duck. See? No duck. Nothing. But that's because this returns something. Okay? So basically, it's saying, go in my module urllib.request and call the method URL open on my string z, because it takes us a URL string, z. And then we're going to take this chunk, and we're going to dot read it. And that's just going to, remember how we did y, we did like, where is it, y.read when we were reading from the items. That's the same thing. We're taking this like file thingy, and we're reading it. So that just prints out everything in it. So you can, just same thing, do read lines, etc. there. I'm like 90% sure. Okay, so then we have this chunk. So this chunk, so it's good to remember what things are. So this is a module. This is a method. This is a URL thingy when we pass in that z to that thing. And then this is a string because read returns the string. And then this is a better string. It's like the decode just takes some kind of string and then says dot decode UTF-8. So pretty sure you could do 1 2 3 dot decode UTF-8. I think that's totally fine. Oh my goodness. Sorry, totally wrong. I will figure that out. Sorry, I've been saying a lot of wrong things tonight. But this is fine. We're all learning here, I guess. So yeah, don't do that. So use decode on the read. All right. So this is a URL thingy, and then dot read spits out a string, and then dot decode UTF-8 is going to decode that string. Okay. And so we see that we have no errors from this, but the last thing is we just have to print it out. And this is the moment you've all been waiting for. print this out, and we get a duck. Hooray, that is the best thing in all of computer science that I have ever done, I think. All right, so, yeah. So that we have URL URL open URL. Okay, here's a thing that I think some people get confused with, and this just drives us insane. They'll come to us and they'll say, okay, I don't know why it's working. I said I put in here URL, and it's not working. Do you see why this won't work? Well, even if I had this, some people name their thing URL, which I don't recommend doing. Well, I guess because you have to have the good variable names. But so you have this URL, and then people will say URL. Well, what this is doing, if I run this, I'll probably give you a saying invalid URL or something. Yeah, it says unknown URL, because what you were doing when you say URL in a string like this, you were like going to the website URL, which isn't any, right? So I mean, a Google search, but yeah, it's not a website. Website looks like https / blah blah blah, which I'm storing in URL like this. And that's another thing to remember. If you're turning into a string, you can do str URL. I don't know why you need to, but that's totally fine. You can do str URL. We'll still get a duck, right? There you go. But just don't, some people think that, oh, I can just turn into a string by wrapping in quotes. That is very different, because that is passing in the literal string URL, going to like url.com, or without the .com. It doesn't make sense. So I usually just like to keep it as a Z, although I guess it's not a very meaningful variable name. Yeah, I just like to keep it as Z, and then you get a duck, just fine. And then we have stream.read.decode UTF-8. You know what? I'm going to try some. Aha! I figured it out. So remember how I tried to do, I was like, oh yeah, you could totally do like 123.decode UTF-8, right? And that didn't work, right? Because it says that you can't do that to strings, right? So it's like, oh, I can't decode strings. What's wrong with you? So yeah, so I decided to figure out why. I said, okay, I'm going to do this thing with the read. I thought it printed out a string, but I was wrong. It prints out, if I do the type of it, this type right here, that actually does a bytes, which I think is similar to a string. And I think you can actually even, you can just coerce it to a string if you wanted to. Let's try that. Yeah, so we can totally turn into a string, and then we wouldn't be able to do our decode F8 because it's not bytes anymore. But I guess bytes is like a special kind of string. Don't quote me on that, but yeah, so it's bytes. That's why I wasn't able to do decode UTF-8 on the string. So yeah, and then so we did that, and then that's just the same thing. So this, so as you see, you have URL request URL open URL, and then the dot read. So I guess you'd be storing this in the variable stream, because this read gets chained off of where you put in your URL, right? So it's going to be dot decode UTF-8. So yeah, so I kind of like this one-liner thing, because I mean it gets a duck on my screen, which is what all I want. So, and I'm just gonna, I'm gonna go through one more time. This is a module, right? And then, well, this is like, if you want to be really technical, this is a module, and this is like a sub-module, some special thing. I can't quite remember. This is a function in that module, and this is running the function. So this is going to return that what I've highlighted is going to turn into. It's going to turn into like this insert URL thingy here. Like it's going to turn into that, right? So magically that turns into a URL thingy, and then we dot read that. And so when we run it with the empty parentheses, that's running it, so it's going to return bytes. So now we have a bunch of bytes where I've highlighted. And then all the bytes, if you run decode on that, will end up, let's see, what if I do the type of this? I think this is a string, but it might still be bytes. Let's take a look. Let's type R, not type. And so the type of this is str. Okay, so that is, looks like decode UTF-8 is taking it from bytes into a string, which makes sense because when I tried to do on a string, it was like, it's already a string, what are you doing? So yeah, so it's turning it into a nice string that we can print out. Because we get rid of this decode UTF-8, if you get rid of that, what we're going to get is jargled garbage. I mean, this is the duck. This is just the duck in like from a different dimension or something. And you usually see that if you see like the B at the front and also all like \n and stuff. This isn't very pretty. That's not a duck. this is a duck. When you decode it, turn it into a string. We're not getting bytes anymore. We're getting a nice string. We have a duck. And then I can't think of anything else. I mean, I think, let's see if you can do read lines. I said you could. See if you can read lines. That is, yeah, it's still a list. It's hard to see, but it's like, I guess this is just bad, but it's hard to tell this is a list, but you can see a bracket here and a bracket here. Let's see what the length is. Length of that list. That is going to be 31. So it is a length 31 list. It just looks crazy, right? So maybe I could say, let's say y equals this, and then I could say, I'm going to say for I in range up to the length of y, because I'm actually going to be changing things to y, so I'm going to use this range. I think it's safer to do that based on what happened last time. So then I'm going to say yi equals, so y of I is going to be a bunch of bytes. So maybe I can do y of I dot decode UTF-8, and then let's print y after that. Maybe that will look a little better than all this garbage. So yeah, I did decode a little bit because we don't have the B anymore, but I mean it's not gonna look like a duck because it's still crazy. Well, what if I said for h and y? Sorry, I'm just trying dumb stuff right now. Print h. This might work. Yeah, it's like an elongated duck because I guess we have new lines in between each one. Yeah, that works. So yeah, so basically we just you can read lines instead of read here, and then you can decode each one. But it's just easier to, I think, one-liner it and get that all that stuff together. So honestly, my best advice from what I did when I was in the class is definitely just well, you might not always use this full one-liner. Maybe you want to like use lists or something. But I think that this is a good thing to memorize just so you know the sequence. Like you have URL lib.request, and then you open it, and then read and decode. And you can make some mnemonic device if you want, like, you know, URD, or I guess URURD. That doesn't say I don't know. But yeah, just memorize this. I think I like typed it out like 10 times, and then you pretty much have it after there. Just remember to close your parentheses when you wrap the URL there, close those parentheses because you're running a function, and then put UTF-8 in those parentheses, and then remember to print out the whole thing. Because if you just, actually, if you do this in the Python shell and you return this, we'll have like new lines and stuff, but print will interpret those new lines and will throw it into this. Like it will like this versus this, because this was not printed. This was just the items in the list. This was the items in the list printed, which interpreted those backslashes. All right, so that is everything. I mean, I can do like a quick overview again if you really want. Like, say I got those true and false and those logic operators. Remember, those are with if statements and stuff. And also, if you want to make flags and do any kind of Boolean stuff. And test cases. My advice: print everything. But I'm sure Professor Tykonovich has better ones. For and while loops. Yeah, definitely those are very important. Just remember the for loop is always like for each item in something. So even if it's range, whatever, it's for each item in something. And then did we do for loop? I think we did. We can do for line and y, or for. You can also do for line with this URL thing, by the way. If I say like y equals URL to quist, and let's not read it. Just open the URL. You do for line in y, print line. Oh, so that made an interesting looking duck, huh? What if I decode UTF-8? I'll do an elongated duck. Okay, so different types of ducks based on what different things that you do. It's pretty cool. And yeah, by the way, this is the URL. I'm going to leave this online indefinitely. So if you want to print your own ducks, you can go ahead and just use this URL. And literally this takes you to a page that just has a duck that you can't really see very well from there. But if you inspect the page, if you view the page source, it's right there. So, all right. So I don't want to take up too much of your time. I mean, most of you probably dropped out of the video by now, but all right. Yeah, we have collection types. These are just bunches of things. Like you can for I in these. And you can also for I inside these URL things. Just remember to stop a URL open. Don't read it or anything yet if you're going to forward through it. And then reading files, websites, we did that. Reading tabular data with such as CSV. Well, that's like splitting on the, like when you're reading each line in, you're going to split on the comma because it's kind of separated something file. So just be careful with that. I'm going to let you figure that out actually. And then importing random. Remember random.rand range gives you a random number. If you want to load high. Then random.shuffle, that's going to shuffle a list. And it's going to actually change the, wait a minute. I'm like, oh gosh, shuffle. I'm like 90% sure it changes the legit list. Yeah. So it doesn't return anything. Yeah, I just want to make sure that, yeah, it will indeed print out none because it can run alone. It changes X in place. So then we have 3, 1, 2 instead of 1, 3. Makes sense? And then what else? I'm just doing the major overview. You can cut out now if you want. Yeah, shuffles list. That's like a Boolean thing, or if you're checking if it's in something. If you're doing like a for I in something, that's where the in works. You can concatenate strings. You can put everything in lowercase, put everything in uppercase. Remember, both of these are going to return something. They're actually going to change it. Also, this is going to return it, obviously. And then strip is going to return the string. Yeah, it's going to return it with all the things moved off. And yeah, see, because like if I run this, this is going to leave the white space on, right? Because this does not modify X. It just returns it stripped. Same with split. And then I believe. And then, so you can split on just like spaces and white space if you put nothing in, or you can split on its limiter, like comma. And you can find a substring. Remember, returns -1 and doesn't find it. And this one doesn't get mad if you don't find it. List.index definitely gets mad if you don't find it. I remember the string.index also gets mad if you don't find it, but probably won't be on test because it's not a list. And there's no list.find as we found. And then elements in list, also same thing if you're doing for I in that, that's how it works. Or if you're checking like, elements in list that will return true if in there. You can also do element not in list, or remember that's not X not in LST or whatever is the same thing as saying like not X in list, like that. Yeah. And then appending adds an element on the end, doesn't return anything, just like, does it. Insert, same thing, doesn't return anything, it just inserts it there. And then remove takes, so insert, yeah, it inserts, it puts it at the index they specify, and it becomes the new, that index. So if it's a 2, it becomes the new 0, 1, 2th element. And then remove takes the first value that it sees in the list, removes it. And then pop is going to return, it's going to work on an index and not a value. And pop works on an index. It's going to return the thing that it popped, the index that it popped. And then sort is going to sort the list. Don't return it. I remember the confusing thing they gave us my years. They also had sorted on here, and that's going to return it. I'll actually show you that real quick just to highlight the difference between returning, right? So if I have 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then I do x dot sorted, and then I print x, and then I x dot sort, and then I print x. The first one will not be sorted, right? Because it's sorted x, and I mean you guys don't have to know this, right? But yeah, sorted x is still going to be out of order because this returns. So if I say print sorted x, now we're gonna get 3 prints. See, this print sorted x returned it, and it did that, but it didn't alter the actual one. But sort x alters the actual one. And if I printed this would give me none, right? Yeah, so this shows you what each one prints. So this one will return this, so that will return it, but this will return none. This one actually alters the list, this one will. So that's the difference between sorted, if you ever need to know. I don't see it on the list, but okay. And then reverse, reverse the list. Don't return anything. And then index. Yeah, we talked about that. If you don't find it in there, it gets mad. Otherwise, it returns the index of where it is. The first element that defines where it is. And then you can do a list of a collection. Ooh, I wonder if you can. I wonder. I was wondering if you could do list on a, since you could do list of a collection, like list of a string or something. I was wondering if you could do it on a URL thing, and you can. You get like this, like when we did the read lines, I think. Ooh, actually, let's do, might only be one element. Oh, 31 still. Yeah, just like we did before, kind of like when we did read lines. So I guess this is very similar to read lines, but I don't know why anyone would ever do that. Just, you can. You can list the collection. Remember that returns. That's why I'm printing it. Yeah. And that's the important thing, just to remember which one returns. And then range, remember this goes 0, 1, 2, 3 up until where you stop. And then, and not including that end. So that's why you can pass in like range of length of x very easily because it won't include the end. So it won't go out of bounds. Unless you delete it inside the loop or something, which is bad. And then range from start to end, that will start if you want to start at 5 or something and go up to the end, it's fine. Or if you just want to put the 0 in there, like just to help you remember. Then you can do start and a step. So that would be like 0 to 10, step to 2. That'd be 0, 2, 4, 8, 10, or not 10, right? Because it wouldn't include 10. Let's do that real quick. Go into the Python shell and do list of range of 10. And then that will show me, this returns the list of, oh, sorry, I wanted to do 0 to 10 and step to 2, 0, 2, 4, 8. Yep, there we go. That's why I really like the Python shell. You can just like do things real fast. Right. And then, so dix, remember this, keys, values, and items return like key objects, value objects, items, they're like thingies that are annoying. So what you can do is you can list them. Just do wrap it with a list like we did here, or right there. That will give you the list of the keys, list of the values, list of tuples, getting the first element is the item, the second one is the value. Then mapping dot pop, that's going to pop it's going to return value to where the key is, and then it's going to get rid of that in the dictionary. And then we can open a file name with all those different, I don't think I have the tab open anymore, but all those different extensions, like with read, write plus, all that stuff. And then we can read the whole thing, which I like to do first, just to make sure it's in there. And then you can read one line if you want. Then you can read lines, which gives you the list of all the things. And then you can dot read, dot split. So that's reading the whole thing and then just splitting on the new line, which will give you a list of items without that \n on each one, like this one will. So this one's actually like a little better than this one, I'd say. And then this is like doing a for loop with it, like for a line in the file, which is fine. Then there was one thing I was going to say. Oh yeah, if you read, I didn't really show this, but if you read it, like try to read it twice. If I say like, I try not to waste too much time. Yeah, I just want to show you if you read it twice, it's only going to read it once. See how I read it once and then and stopped. Because what's going to happen is when you open it to read, it's going to put the cursor here, and it's going to read through, and then the cursor is going to be down here, and then it's going to read again, it's just going to give you nothing. If you want to move back to the beginning, there's a quick little thing you can do that's like y.seek 0, and then I'll put it back to the beginning, and you can read it twice. That's just with the cursor. I don't really think we do that anymore. Yeah, and then for loops, and then, yeah, with this, just practice, try to get that duck on the screen, and try to do it, memorize that one-liner. That will help you get it each time. Yeah, and remember to always practice coding on paper, because paper is the hardest editor in the world to use, so make sure that you, yeah, practice that. Although I do think that paper is a very, very useful planning thing, and I've been using that a lot more lately, is planning out the code on paper, and it really, really helps a lot. Yeah, so, I mean, this has gone on way longer than I expected, and it is now dark out, and I am alone in mech. So, all right, so I think that's it that I have. If you have any questions, honestly, yeah, just put them in the comments. I'll get an email about it, and that's totally fine. Yeah, good luck, and